In this lecture, I want to show you how you can add some really cool features to your WordPress site using PHP. Now, we've already done a little bit of this when we were building this theme. So the first thing I want to do is take a look back at some of the PHP code that we integrated in this theme to make it work the way it did. So you may recall in our footer.php page, I used just a simple little snippet of PHP right here to render out the current year so that my copyright message always looks very current. Now, how did I know how to do that? I pretty much Googled it, but I know a little bit of PHP to know that echo means to print out, and date is just a built-in PHP function, and this is a parameter that says only render out the year, not like the day, the month, etc. So that's some very simple PHP. You also may remember that in the sidebar, I wrote an if-then statement because the sidebar.php file is pulled in both the home page and in a content page, and actually in a post and in an archive page as well. But I only wanted the part where my about header shows up and my picture shows up, in that snippet from the about page shows up. I only wanted that to show up if we were on the home page, and so I used a PHP function to check to see if we were on the home page and then display it. Finally, another place where I used PHP was in my header to dynamically generate the page name. So if we were on the home page, the title is just the name of my blog, but if we were anywhere else, it looked at the page or post title and then it put that prior to the name of the site. So those are just some simple ways that I integrated PHP to enhance the functionality. Now we're going to take a look at a couple of other sites that I've made. Let's start by looking at the Webster INTM site. So, one cool little feature down here, you'll see that I have a student work spotlight. Well, obviously this is pulling in content from a post. If I refresh this page, I see a different piece of student work right there. How did I do that? Well, I did that with a little bit of PHP code. And here's where the student work spotlight is. And I wrote some code in PHP that says, I want you to display a post, and only one of them, that's in category 6, and order it randomly. Category 6 happened to be the category that I set up for student work. So with the result of this, it goes and gets the post and the post content and displays it based on what it chooses up here. So just real quick, let me show you how I got the category number. If I go back to my dashboard here and take a look at categories, it was kind of like how I got the page ID. Same way with categories. If you click on category to edit the category and click up here, you can see that your category, my tag is 3. So you can get that from the URL. Some other examples of cool use of PHP. On this particular site, I wanted the client to be able to easily edit all of the content on the site and have a lot of flexibility. So for example, we have some of these profile pages of people who are in the company. And on some of them, they had quotes about the person and some of them didn't. So the way that I coded this page using PHP was to set up posts that were named. For example, this guy's name is Michael A. Scavato. That was the page name. I created a post called Michael A. Scavato-sidebar. So when this page theme loads, what it does is it grabs the name of the page, which is Michael A. Scavato, and it looks for any posts that are named after the page itself -sidebar. And if it finds them, then it displays it over here and renders it in this way. It even gets more sophisticated because it found the post and it saw that it was in the category of quote, so it rendered it even differently than if it found something called a post called Michael A. Scavato post, and it wasn't categorized as a quote. So it can get kind of complicated, but this system that I set up for them, I of course had to explain to them, but they have ultimate flexibility now to add quotes, remove quotes, and make a lot of changes to their site. One more example. This is a clerkship in pediatric medicine website. Right now you see I'm logged in. I'm logged into WordPress, and it is showing here are some resources for me, Julia Griffey, that appear just because I'm logged into WordPress. So I have all of these different options here. Here's a message that shows up specifically for logged in people. Had I not been logged in, none of this would show up, and I would see just kind of generic information that was okay to present to the public. So none of this is all of that complicated, and it's interesting. I found that anything that a client has asked me to do, I didn't maybe know how to do it initially, but after Googling it a little bit and playing with a little bit of PHP, I was able to make it work. So it's a very powerful environment, and you can make your websites do a lot of really great things.